Hello beautiful people, it's Darren here from Art by Darren, welcoming you to another Art Start DIY Christmas. Today we're doing elfin stockings. So cute, I love them. I've got a pattern for you can print from my website. You'll need to blow it up 200%. So print out a copy and then blow it up 200% to get this stocking. You'll also need to cut out an extra little piece at the top, an extra pattern piece for the cuff. But the actual stocking itself is the full drawing on the pattern. So here I'm just cutting it out on my hessian. I would normally cut this out like two at once, but the amount of hessian that I had left, what I'm going to do is flip the pattern. You'll see it on the next one where I flip the pattern so that I can actually get two pieces from the one little piece of hessian there. If I folded it in half it wouldn't fit because of the dip on the toe there. Here's the little furry piece that I'm going to add on top, and just cut that out and pinned both sides together. Now at this point you could pin the wide section there of the cuff to the top and just sew it on that way and then sew up the side seams. I wasn't working from a pattern, so this is the way I did it. And here's a little trick I've found when using iron-on interfacing, is to just put the piece on. If it's big enough that your iron can fit in there without touching the glue, you can sort of just pop it on the way I did, cut it out, and then leave the iron on the other side. Just makes it a little bit quicker when you're cutting it out. Now here I'm just sewing up the side seam. I just wanted to show you in sort of slower motion here where I go around the seam. I don't actually stop around the curve here. You see it just, I keep going, keep turning, just stitching very slowly, and that's how you make it around a curve. Now I go up to the toe, right up to the end, and then it'll be needle down, lift up your feet, turn it around, and then keep stitching. Now look, the foot does have a little curve in it here, you'll see, into the heel and round the heel again. It's the same thing, just go nice and slow and turn as you're sewing. So here I'm just using my, oh my god, the name's lost me. Pinking shears. There we go. I'm using my pinking shears to trim the edges to prevent them from fraying. Normally you'd sew either a zigzag stitch or overlock it. I don't have well, my machine does have an overlocking stitch, but I didn't want to do it on this. Now here I'm cutting into the curve. It's called clipping the curve. You can see my scissors are going up to but not clipping into the seam. You need to do this on any curve so that when you turn it through the right way, it's nice and flat. Also the toe, you cut the corner off like that and that'll get you a nice pointy toe at the end. Clipping around the heel again and clipping, there's a little curve there in the back of the heel as well. Now I'm stitching the fur section on the top here together. It's fake fur, by the way, of course. It's a knitted fabric. Normally knitted fabric should sew with a zigzag. With this I didn't bother, it's just a straight stitch. There is a bit of fiddling around with the fur, with the hair, which way it goes. It sort of sticks out a bit, sticks in a bit. You just have to sort of play with it. I'm making a cuff and then attaching it as a cuff like you would to a sleeve. But as I said before, you could actually attach these pieces. You would have to attach the, let me see how to get it to turn the right way. You would need the wrong side of the fur attached to the right side of the stocking if you're going to sew it before you sew the side seams. So here I'm trying to cut it with my pinking shears. Don't do that. It doesn't work. You get bits of fur everywhere and it doesn't cut through it very well at all. So I resorted to my dressmaking scissors here. And if you don't know what dressmaking scissors are, they are scissors that you only use for fabric. You don't use them for anything else. You'll probably see another video coming up soon where I'm cutting out iron-on fusible, and I used my dressmaking scissors then, which I shouldn't have done. But yeah, you just don't use them for anything else but fabric, because paper blunts scissors. There's a little way you can sharpen them by cutting through foil is a great way, or you can actually buy a sharpener that sharpens scissors of lengths as well. So here I'm just attaching the cuff to the top. So in here I've got the right side of the cuff to the wrong side of the stocking. I'll just repeat that again. It's the right side of the cuff to the wrong side of the stocking. That means when we turn it inside out and the cuff comes out, it'll be the right way round. So here, taking off my little attachment to my machine so that I can sew this cuff on. This is what you do when you would sew a sleeve on as well. And now here is where I should have attached my piece of ribbon. Should have actually done it while I was pinning it in. But I don't realise, so I double stitch where I start and I sew all the way around. Just got to go a little slowly with fur so it bunches up a little bit, so you just got to flatten it out and just take your time with it. There's no hurry with sewing. I think that's the biggest thing I see with beginner sewers is they want to go too fast. Go as slow as you need to make it work. And there's always the unpick, and you'll see that I use the unpick here in a minute. Even people that have been sewing for, God, it's 50 years now I've been sewing. Yes, even we still make mistakes. So, I don't know if you heard there, I swore. Blocked it out because it's in fast forward. So I've just unpicked that little bit on the heel seam, folding my ribbon in half and going to slot that between the two of them, and then sew that in place again, and that'll make it so we can hang it from the mantelpiece. But yes, don't worry if you've got to unpick something. It is something that happens quite regularly, really. And then we'll just trim around the cuff and make it all nice and neat. It does take a little bit of fiddling with that fur because it's a thicker fabric, but then it's quite easy to turn it the right way round. You want to poke that end of the toe out. I have a screwdriver, it's clean. I use that. You can use a piece of dowel or a knitting needle, whatever you've got handy that will point that toe out. Now I hang it up here and I realise it doesn't hang the way I want it to. So I'm just adding some fibre fill. It's just a polyester filling, and just to pad out the toe. I do end up filling the whole thing. So it's time to add jingle bells. Now I just want to show you a little quilter's trick here where you sink your knot. So just there, you might want to rewind to see how I did that again. You just start your stitch about an inch from where you want to come out, and then just gently pull the knot through, not right the way through, but just at that first bit there. Then sew a knot onto the end where you want to sew in and start sewing your bell on. And here we have our Elfin stockings. I think they're adorable. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Would you make them out of hessian, or what fabric would you choose? Now we're going to make the little stocking holders. I did make these smaller to start with, and they weren't heavy enough to hold the stockings, and I tried sticking rocks on the back and felt pads underneath, and yeah, it didn't work. So I've got this what my American friends would call a 4x4, I think it is. It's 10 centimeters by 10 here in Australia, and I'm cutting it to about 12 centimeters, so not quite square, just a little bit longer on the top there, and adding it to a shorter piece on the bottom. I'll show you that in a second. So because I've already cut out my knob, because I made this other pair, I had to use a thinner piece of wood on the bottom, and here I make a mistake and don't cut it big enough. So always check that first one before you cut the second one out, because here I go, my knob's not going to fit in that tiny little bit, so I make it longer again. I think I made these 20 centimeters long to go on the other side of that. I finally gave up on these little things. They've had rods stuck to them, felt pads put on because of this thing, and they're just not heavy enough for those stockings now. So I cut some pieces of scrap that I had and just sanded those off. And because I've already cut the length of the screw here, I needed to do a piece of wood that was the same width for the bottom piece, so these will fit in. And yes, they take this long to unscrew. Come on! There we go. So, let's double check. Yes, that will fit. Great. Okay. Now I just got to remember what screwdriver I used and decide whether I'm going to paint them or not. I mean, the most you're going to see is this. Oh, dirty fingernail. But it's two different woods. One's treated and one's not. One's a little bit narrower than the other one, but it's all I've got, so it's going to have to do. So I may still find a bit of side. There's always one side that looks neater than the rest. Well, that one's a bit buggered too. It's all a bit... Maybe it needs a little bit more sanding, so it's probably the best. So again, I'll glue those on together, and I'm going to draw the snowflake protection symbol on that one as well. So there we have our mantle stocking holders with a little snowflake pattern and a little bling there with some rhinestones, and our gold knobs and our elfin stockings. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I had a lot of fun making this project. I hope you had fun watching it and learning along with me. And in an upcoming video we'll be making our coastal tid tray with all of the little ornaments there. You can see surfing Santa and seahorses, little driftwood anchors and signs, and my little combi with a tree on top, which is very, very cute, and my little sand snowman too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye now. Oh, like and subscribe, please.